Hello fellow beaders. On my craft table today I have a tutorial for you for making this beautiful beaded tassel pendant. Let's get on to the materials. So these are the materials, very few materials that you will be needing to make this beautiful tassel. To begin with, I have taken a comfortable length of thread and I am going to add a stop bead. So pick a stop bead and leave about 2 or 3 inches of tail thread and pass through the stop bead twice. Now I am going to pick up 14 of these size 8 beads in this blue color. So since I am using blue and yellow, you can choose any one color, but I have chosen blue here. Yeah, I have 12 beads now, so I'm picking up 2 more, and that makes it 14. So there are 14 beads on my thread now. Now hold your beads in this position like this. Pick up one bead, skip the first one and pass your needle through the next bead. And when you do that and give it a pull, it will stack up like this. See, this bead will sit next to each other and it will be stacked up like this. Again, pick up one more bead, skip the bead after the one the thread is coming out of. See, now the thread is coming out of this bead. You have taken one bead on the needle, skip the one after that and pass your needle through the next bead. So you are picking up one and skipping one, and again tighten it like this and a neat brickwork will start forming. You will continue like this, adding one bead and skipping one bead. In this row you will be actually putting on 7 beads in this row. The first 14 beads are the first 2 rows of the peyote stitch, and in each row now you will be adding 7 beads at a time. The first row is actually always a little clumsy, but as you get used to it, you will be able to manage the thread and the beads. See, it must stack up like this one after the other, and also it must be in a straight line, because sometimes it will tend to get bent to the right or to the left. So make sure it's like this. So these are the first 3 rows of the peyote stitch. Now because it's easy for me to work in this direction, I've turned my work, and you can see there are valleys or gaps here in which you will be filling up the bead. So here there will be 7 spaces, and in these 7 spaces you will be adding the 7 beads that we pick up. Now it's easier because some beads will be sticking out and you don't have to find which bead you will have to work into. So your work becomes more easier now after the 3rd row. Continue like this. We'll need a total of I'll show you how to count now. See, at the bottom there you have 3 beads on the top, and at the bottom you have 3 beads. So that means I have made 6 rows of peyote stitch, but I need 8 rows of peyote stitch. So I am starting the 7th row now. See, 8 rows we need because when we want to make it into a tube, we should be able to mold it into a tube, and also it should be an even number if we want to zip it up seamlessly. Now let's count now. Okay. So there are 7 rows now. Now for the 8th row, I am going to bring in another color, because it's going to be easy for you to see how to close this tube, close this flat piece into a tube. So what we are now doing is called as a flat peyote stitch, but we'll be closing it up to make it into a POT tube. And to make it into a tube, you should have an even number always. For this pattern I am using 8, but it could be bigger than this also. And once you have done this, now this is how it will be closed. See, now when you hold it like this and look, the beads that are sticking out must be in alternate rows or in alternate places. So those are the beads you will stitch together. I'll show you in this now. See the sticking out beads. See, and the left, and again the second row it's on the right, on the third row it's on the left, and in the fourth row it's on the right. So like this, the beads which are sticking out should be in alternate rows. You'll have to really pay attention to that. If you do it in even numbers, your work will be correct. Now hold it together like this. First step is to bring both of them together, and then now insert your needle into the yellow bead on the left side and the blue sticking out bead on the right side. Remember, you're not adding any beads here, you're just sewing both of them together. Yellow bead on the left side and blue bead on the right side. So that's why I added a different color, because it will be easy for you to identify which are the beads that you have to sew together. Now, because this color change won't be noticeable when you add the tassels, so that's why I added a color change. And this sewing should be really tight. Don't leave your tension loose, otherwise the tube won't be nice and firm. So hold it tightly and work. And as we come to the end, again, see, this is the last bead that we are working into. Now you will have to join to the next bead there, right? So to join, you will have to just come down that next bead. Now I don't want the stop bead, so I'm just taking it out because it's coming in the way. Now bring your needle down the next bead. So this completes our joining. See, this is how the tube will be. Now since the join is only one strand, to reinforce it, I would like to, excuse me, I would like to go down the same path once again, so that it is an added strength for the tube. Just go down the same path as you came up. And again, remember, you're not adding any beads. We are just reinforcing the stitch that we made while coming up. Now this reinforcement is important because the tassel is a very heavy tassel, so it needs to be the center needs to be nice and strong. And now we are done with the center stem of the tassel. We'll begin adding the tassel now. So for that we'll need the other colors also. So I bought in yellow and the white. All are size 8 beads. You could choose your whatever you like. And then there's the silver bead, which is a size 10. It's not 11, it's size 10. It's some Chinese made beads. It has to be smaller than this 3, so that's what is important. Pick up 5 of the blue, 5 of the yellow, 5 of the white, and then see 5 in each. and then one silver bead. See, this arrangement of beads can be your own choice. It can be longer or shorter or in any arrangement you like. Now skip the silver bead and pass your needle up through all the 15 beads that you added now. Don't leave out any. So carefully pass through or pass back through all the 15 beads. And if the thread will get loose like this, so pull it up like that. And let it not be too tight, otherwise your tassel won't be hanging freely. And after you do that, again bring your needle up the bead from where you started. So this only completes the tassel of the first one. To add the next tassel, you will go down the next bead. And again the order of the beads that you pick up will be the same, 5 of each color. And after you do that, one silver bead. Skip the silver and pass your needle back through all the 15 beads once again. And don't pull it too tight. And if your thread is loose like this, so place it down and tighten it up a little gently. If it is too tight, your tassel won't hang properly. And again, don't forget to come up the bead from where you started. Next, go down the next bead, because whenever you start a tassel, your bead should be in the downwards direction. Five of each and one silver. Skip the silver and bring your needle up through all the 15 beads. Adjust your thread if it is becoming loose. Again, without forgetting, pass your needle up the bead from where you started. And now take your thread into the next bead in the downward direction. And this will be the fourth tassel that you are adding, the fourth tassel and the last tassel in this row. So you remember we made 8 rows of peyote stitch, so that means there's going to be 4 beads in each row now. That's half of 8. So with this we are completing one row, bringing the needle up from where you started. And now you don't have to go down now. Now we have to move. See, there are 4 beads, so that's why you'll have 4 tassels. Now you have to take your needle up into the next row. And when you bring the needle up into the next row, see, your thread will be in the other direction, but to make the tassel we need the thread to be in the downwards direction. So bring your needle out into the next bead. And this is a time for you to adjust the previous row and make sure that your tassel is nice and smoothly hanging. See, now you'll have to make tassels on all the 4 rows, 4 beads in this row also. So in every row there will be 4 beads. In all the 4 beads you will have to make 4 tassels each. you will make 4 tassels in one row, then you will move up, then again 4, and you will move up. So like this it will continue for 14 rows, because we added 14 beads in the beginning, so we have 14 here. See, you keep adding beads like this. And now here, after adding 2 rows, my thread is going to finish, so I have to wind up this thread and add new thread. So I'll now show you how to add new thread and how to wind up this thread. So to begin with, see, this is where we are stopping. So we have to make a note of the place where we are stopping. Otherwise, it's going to get very confusing and you won't know where to begin again. So just make a note of where you are stopping. And I'm taking another piece of thread. And just to mark it, I'm going to make a knot on that tassel or on that set of beads. So I'll know where I stopped, and when I want to add thread and begin again, I'll know where to begin. Otherwise it's really going to get confusing, because you won't know exactly where you stopped, but it will take a little bit of searching. You can do it, but then it's easier when you have marked it already. Okay, now see, your thread is here. We are not going to just make a knot in the same place there. Instead, we have to take this thread up about 1 or 2 or sometimes 3 beads up, and as you go up, you will make some knots on the way and secure it. So there's no particular method to do this. Just take your thread 1 or 2 beads up, but make sure that the thread is in the same direction as your stitch work. It should not be in opposite directions or in any other direction. And as you are going up, wherever you can, and under the thread bridge, pass your needle under the thread bridge and make some knots on the way up. Sometimes you can zigzag your way up also, go up a few steps and then make knots. So depending on the thread that you have left on the needle, you can make your decision on that. But make sure that at least there are 2 knots before you finish your thread. You see, this is where I am going to make a knot now. So I put my needle under a thread bridge there, and I'm going to pull up the needle until it's a small loop, and then I'll pass my needle through the loop and tighten it. So that is the first knot I've made. So like this you can make 2 or 3 knots before you finish your thread. In the beadwork, I find that ending a thread and adding a thread is the most time consuming part of the beadwork, because it really, you have to be very neat and tidy when you do that, and the thread is short, so you have to work slowly, so that takes a bit of a time rather than the beadwork itself. I don't know how many of you also think like that, but for me it is it's not an easy. I'm not very fond of ending and adding thread, but then yeah, we have to do it as neatly as possible, because your beadwork definitely depends on the neatness of how you add and end your thread. So you have to do it neatly and slowly. Now, after making 2 knots, you can just zigzag your way up a few more beads. I'm sorry, it's not, the focus is not too good here. I think I just went off camera a bit. Yeah, so I think this is a little bit better now, but I hope you got the picture of how to end the thread. And when you're done, you can snip off the thread. So we have ended the working thread now. The next step is to add new thread. To add new thread, we have to bring a new thread in, and our aim is to come out of the bead from where we have to add the tassel. So since you already made the mark, you know where your next tassel should come, but you should not start your work from there. You will have to come up a few beads. You have to start working a few beads before that on the tube. Okay, see, I am just starting here now. I am trying to add my thread from this position, and then I will wind my way back, wind my way to the place where I want to add the tassel. So it's actually the reverse of how we ended the thread. Leave about an inch or so of thread is enough, because we are anyway going to just cut it off, and we don't need to reinforce that part again. Okay, so after passing my needle through the one bead there, I am adding my knot here. So you can even add the knot like this. Just take your working thread around the needle and pull. You can form a knot like that also. And make sure that the knot is nice and tight by pulling onto both the ends of the thread. See, like this. Okay, hold the tail and your working thread and pull it like this. So a good secure knot is formed. Now I'll have to take this thread down to the place where I want to add my next set of beads. So the marking is there, so it's easy for me to know. So just I'll have to go to that place now. Again, I'll be going in a zigzag motion because I don't want the thread to be seen. And on the way down, make a couple of more knots also. I have another tassel making video also, for which I will put the link below in the description box. You can even take a look at that, and it's like almost the same. So you might enjoy watching that also. So I'm now trying to figure out where I should take my thread to, and since I've already made a mark, I know where my needle has to come out. I mean the place from where I have to start adding the next row of tassels. I am making another knot there before I begin my adding the rows of beads again. So there you see, that's my mark. Now let me go into the next bead there. See, without adding that little marker there, we'll have to be searching where to start again. So adding that little marker is really very helpful. Here you see, so we are in the right place now. See, this is the marked tassel, and you see my needle is coming out of the next bead there. Yeah, so we are in the right position now to add more tassels. So keep adding more. I've added more on off camera also, and I've come to this position now where there are two more rows left. See, if I'm going to add a bead cap like this, I can stop here. I don't have to do the last two rows, but I don't have a silver color bead cap like that. So I'm going to try out various other bead caps that I have. So just giving it a try to see which will suit here. And because my bead caps are small, I'll have to add two more rows also to make it full and cover up the bead cap only will suit only if it's fully covered up like this. So I have added tassels on all the remaining two rows also, and now I'm going to show you. I'm going to check out how what is the best bead cap that I'm going to use for this. So what I will do is before even adding it, I'm going to just check out to see if what suits best for this. So I'll stick a pin inside the tube like this and bring out the different bead caps I have to see which arrangement will look good for this one. Okay, so it's always not necessary that you'll have to add only one bead cap. You can stack up 3 or 4 together also to make it a unique bead cap for your use. So I'll juggle around a bit like this to decide what I'm going to use, and then when I'm ready I'll wind up my working thread like how I've shown you earlier to finish a thread. So wind up your thread and get ready to add the bail and the bead caps. So which will be in the next episode. So see you there again. Bye. Thank you.